Conclusions. There is no climate crisis. The book talks about climate change. I didn't talk about it today. Dive into the data. The number of people dying from extreme weather events is plummeting. There is no climate crisis. And again, just be honest, look at the numbers. There is no energy transition. It's okay, we want new energies, but let's just be honest. Let's call them alternative energies or new energies. Don't call them clean energy, because there's no such thing as clean energy or dirty energy. There's no such thing as renewable energy, particularly energy sources with very short lifetimes and very huge amounts of land and very little ability to recycle them. Those are not renewable energies. All energy sources have different trade-offs. Let's be honest about that. Net zero 2050, zero chance of this happening, but it's actually a sinister goal because we spend an insane amount of money pretending we're going to actually achieve this. And what has the net result been? It's just been to make energy more expensive and less reliable and impoverish people. If instead we focused on everyone should have energy access, zero energy poverty by 2050, we both could achieve that goal or at least come close, and we'd actually make the world a better place instead of a worse place in the process of that. Just to get it away from this being my opinion, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change does their own economics, as did Nobel Prize winner William Nordhaus, Yale economist, on climate change. Their own analysis is it's hundreds of trillions of dollars would be required to still not get there, but to get close to net zero 2050. And for every dollar that's invested, you get about a nickel or maybe a dime of benefit. So if you want to spend $200 trillion and get $20 trillion of benefits out of it, that's a $180 trillion human impoverishment program. Like, that's not something to be proud of or not something to want to be aligned of, in my opinion. City, state, and oh my God, my own city right here in our state of Colorado, and even national greenhouse gas emission targets, they're just perverse. Number one, they don't reduce global greenhouse gas emissions. They just export them, right? I lived in California for a long time. You make energy very expensive. Guess what? They don't make anything in California anymore. California achieved the highest adjusted poverty rate in the nation. They consume the same stuff. It's just not made in California anymore. It's made in Alabama, or more likely it's made in China. And instead of being in a factory powered by natural gas, it's powered by coal. Then it's loaded on a diesel ship and shipped back into California, and they're green. Like, this is just nuts. Like, the only thing that will lower global greenhouse gas emissions is better energy technologies that are affordable, reliable, and have lower greenhouse gas emissions, like moving from coal to gas, or moving to nuclear, or moving to other things. But when you have a local target for it, you're just impoverishing your people and moving jobs away. Wind and solar subsidies have just been gigantic. I mean, multiple trillions of dollars. And everywhere they've had meaningful penetration, they've made electricity more expensive, the grid less reliable, and the sum over 20 years and somewhere between $4 and $10 trillion is 2.6% of global energy. Almost all of it in one sector, the electricity sector. Electric vehicles are not climate policies. You have to drive a Tesla 80,000 miles to get its greenhouse gas emissions down to the level of an internal combustion engine, because they're just massively energy intensive to make them. Just because all that energy intensive aluminum and plastics and batteries are made in China doesn't mean those emissions don't go into the air. They go into the air. Like, I'm not against or pro electric vehicles. Just, they're not a climate policy. They're not part of an energy transition. In China, where the large majority of electric vehicles are sold, is for a good reason. They want to power their vehicles off Chinese coal instead of imported oil. That makes sense. And they want to have cleaner urban air quality. And electric cars are helpful for that. Absolutely. They have a role. But let's not pretend they're part of a climate or an energy transition thing. Affordable, reliable, secure energy is foundational to successful societies. This is true everywhere and always. States with advantaged energy prices, states that could be countries or states in the United States, and secure electric grids are going to prosper in the years ahead. Where do you think AI and data centers and some resourcing and manufacturing is going to be? It's going to be where energy is affordable, reliable, and there's a good and educated workforce and a welcoming business climate. The deindustrialization of Europe and the maybe start of deindustrialization of the United States is not an environmental or a human benefit. So up with energy sobriety. Thank you for everyone to be at Enercom. And great to be here. I'm going to be in a Q&A room, I think, afterwards. If you want to come ask questions or disagree with me, please come disagree with me. That's what we need, an energy dialogue. Thank you all.